After 43 days, the U.S. government shutdown, the longest in American history, ends after Trump signed the Congress-approved short-term funding bill. Meanwhile, a parallel crisis is unfolding in the economic data world. Key October jobs and inflation reports may never be published. Well, Trump said that government operations will resume. He also said that money for health insurance to be paid directly to Americans rather than extend the subsidy scheme, which expires at the end of December. Well, that was one of the key issues of difference between the Democrats and Republicans, resulting in the government shutdown. Now, the Democrats wanted the medical insurance subsidies to be expended, but the Republicans were holding out. Now, Trump's solution suggests another debate before the government funding runs out at the end of January. The United States House of Representatives returned to session on Wednesday. It's first in nearly 2 months and voted 222 to 209 in favor of a short-term funding bill. That bill funds most federal agencies through January 30th. Earlier on Monday, U.S. Senate passed the stopgap funding package by a 60-40 vote, with 8 Democratic senators joining Republicans. The shutdown began on October 1st, and during this shutdown, approximately 900,000 federal employees were furloughed and about 2 million more worked without pay. Agencies halted data collection. Air travel was disrupted. Some U.S. airports experienced 6% flight cancellations tied to understaffing. Both Republicans and Democrats are claiming victory, but neither appears to have a clear win. Food assistance, air traffic control, veteran and military construction spending were among the operations at risk. The funding bill restores all of these. The deal leaves aside key issues and, most notably, the expiry of health insurance subsidies under the Affordable Care Act, ACA. That fight is deferred.
We will continue to fight to lower the high cost of living. House Democrats will continue to fight to address the health care crisis that Republicans have created. And House Democrats will continue to fight to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits for tens of millions of Americans. This fight is not over. We're just getting started. And there's only 2 ways that this fight will end. Only 2 ways, Mr. Speaker, that this fight will end. Either Republicans finally decide to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits this year, or the American people will throw Republicans out of their jobs next year and end the speakership of Donald J. Trump once and for all. That's how this fight ends.
Back the remainder of my time so we can do that. The American people demand it and deserve it. My friends, let's get this done. Thank you. I yield back.
But even as the shutdown ends, a new crisis looms: the collapse of official economic data. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, BLS, and other statistical units suspended operations during the shutdown. The White House says the October jobs and inflation data are likely never being released. Economists are urging the U.S. to prioritize November data, even if October never arrives, because policymakers at the Federal Reserve are flying blind. Private sector estimates suggest that the labor market was weakening. Firms were shedding more than 11,000 jobs per week through late October. The Fed's next rate decision meeting is December 9th to 10th. Without up-to-date official data on employment and inflation, policymakers face greater uncertainty in setting interest rate policy. The statistical gaps may reduce visibility into economic conditions, making it harder to respond in time if the economy weakens or inflation resurfaces. The missing data means we lose continuity in time series that spans decades, undermining comparisons and forecasts. And for more on this, our correspondent Susan Tehrani has sent more details from New York. Listen to this.
The federal government shutdown, now the longest in U.S. history, at 43 days officially ends after the United States House of Representatives approved a funding package by a 222-209 vote, sending it to Donald Trump for signature. The bill restores pay for federal workers, reopens agencies, and funds most government operations through January 30th, 2026. The full-year funding deal doesn't address the key Democratic demand of extending the Enhanced Affordable Care Act premium tax credits. Democrats say they'll keep fighting for that by mid-December. But because funding only extends through January 30th, another battle looms early next year over the next round of appropriations. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.